I was kind of hoping I wouldn't have to make this video for a few more years, but I think, based off a new article from IGN about Saber Interactive's future, I really think Evil Dead the game is doomed in terms of future DLC releases, and then with that also just in general. So my source for this is an IGN article and mostly just the Evil Dead subreddit on Reddit. So obviously take everything I say with a grain of salt. It just feels very bleak in terms of a future for this game. Hence why I am wearing a full suit to do this video, because it does really feel like I am giving a eulogy for the game. Looking up the press releases and open letters to employees revealed that they're moving from a heavy investment model to what they refer to as high cash flow generative business model by the end of this year. The initial and secondary phase, which both start immediately, involve identifying and implementing immediate cost-saving measures. The final phase involving internal consolidation, meaning that they're effectively downsizing as of today. Of note to the Evil Dead game fans is that they specifically mention eliminating spending on non-development costs and moving away from third-party publishing. So if you were particularly excited about future content coming to Evil Dead, this is as good a sign as any that it probably isn't going to happen unless the deal is already done. Yep, they are no longer focusing on external IP, only internal IP. So it looks like what we have on Evil Dead right now is all we're going to get. The only way I see new content is if it was already finished and waiting to be released on a certain date. Other than that, this is it. In the past month, we've had the Friday the 13th game and VHS both being removed from game stores and servers shutting down soon, and just games being completely wiped off stores. So the prospect of another asymmetrical horror game, Evil Dead the game's future, is not super bright looking. As I read earlier, unless they have this DLC finished and tucked away, I really can't see any new content coming. I mean, a game like this that has so many franchise entries to work off of and characters to play as just sort of dying after a year in terms of new content, it's just, it sucks so much, because like Evil Dead fans are so excited for this game, and obviously rightfully so, and it's probably introduced a lot of people to the franchise that wouldn't otherwise have been introduced to it. So it sucks that it's at this weird standstill where it's like kind of dead, but also not kind of dead. Like, obviously people are still playing and stuff, but I just feel like if they don't pump new content out, like, it's gonna be tough to keep new players coming in, because no one's gonna want to play a game where they can't play as a character they like. I know if when they released this game, if Cheryl wasn't a playable character, I probably wouldn't have played right off the bat at release. I mean, us as Evil Dead fans, we've also been aware of this ever since they sort of released the Game of the Year update, which a lot of us suspect would be the end of the game, which sucks, because it's only a year old. It's only a year old, and it's so sad. There was an interview with Tim Willits on The Loadout, which I guess gave people a little hope, where he's talking about sort of the future of the game after the Game of the Year update and all that. The Game of the Year edition does wrap up everything we've done so far. You know, what we're going to do is we're moving to Steam. There's 1 billion people on that platform. We're going to continue quality of life updates, and then we're going to examine what the fans want. Based on feedback and based on what people are asking for, we will then make decisions from there. I mean, it's a little bleak. And then also there were clips of the Evil Dead Rise cast being asked about being added to the game, and none of them could really give like a straight answer. And obviously if they're under an NDA because they were recording voice lines or something, obviously they can't share that. But you'd think they'd be wanting to ride the hype train after Rise. You'd think they'd want to keep the momentum going with the success of that movie, because it was a huge success and got tons of people into Evil Dead. So I don't know why they didn't hint at a Rise DLC. Like, even now, like, why didn't they do that for the game's anniversary? They just did a tweet that was like, thanks for playing. Like, okay, thanks. It's also rude to just suspect that they're gonna give us so much like hard work and time goes into making a game, even on the cosmetic sides, just for skins and characters and stuff. Like, so much work goes into that. So obviously I don't want them like shifting out content all the time that's like not good. I don't want it to look like Ash's skin in Dead by Daylight that got released a couple months ago, that is just absolutely atrocious. But based off that quote and sort of what other fans are saying, I feel like it's just going to be patches and bug fixes, basically until they shut the servers down and they close the game for good. That's like, it's very depressing, but I feel like that is sort of the reality of it right now, because If they're focusing on original content and no longer doing like third-party projects, where does that leave our beloved third-party project? And it's not really like they could ship it off to another development company or something. Obviously, they probably can't give all the details to us constantly about every single thing that's happening with the game and the company and new content and stuff. But it would just be nice to know if this game has a future. And that's a very mean thing to say. Honestly, does this game have a future? Are they going to make any new content for this game anytime soon? I really wish they had a roadmap. I really wish it was like The Sims, which is a scary thing to say, and sort of every quarter give us a little hint of what we're gonna get. Let us know. It would just be nice, and I think keep people playing. Everyone's pretty much rooting for Evil Dead Rise DLC, and I know people are campaigning for Chet and Brandy to be added. I'm one of them. And like an Elk Grove map and stuff like that. But this just does really feel like the end in terms of cosmetics and maps. I had asked you guys on Twitter last week on the Hail to the Deadites page if you thought the game was doomed, and your responses were pretty hopeful and stuff, which was nice. I'm glad that not everyone is as depressed over the state of this game as I am. I'm glad everyone didn't dress like they were going to a funeral every time they talk about the game. It was supposed to be our year. It was supposed to be Evil Dead fans' year. We had Rise, we had the Who's Your Daddy DLC. I just felt like it was supposed to be our year. And now our game is dying and there's no movie or TV show planned anytime soon. I feel like the game is just in a standstill right now, which sucks because that's like the most consistent thing to give updates on if there's no big movie plan, because what else am I going to talk about in terms of news if there's no news? And like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game is coming out in a couple months and it's so good, and I do feel like a lot of people are going to migrate over to that game. And then I'm just worried that the Evil Dead game is just going to fall into the same fate as Friday the 13th and just live in like a unmonitored, developmentless hell. I mean, it really sucks to be negative, and I know it's like early to suspect that we're not getting any more content for the year because it's only June and there are 6 months left in the year, but it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great in terms of what we can get in the future. And it also does create a scary void for the podcast and these bonus episodes and stuff, because if I don't have new stuff to talk about, it's gonna solely be retrospectives, and you can only retrospect what is retrospectable. I can't pull lost media out of a hat. I'm not saying it's a scary time to be an Evil Dead fan, because obviously we should be like excited because Rise just came out and we have a video game. There's so many good horror movies that will never get new additions to their franchises. They will never get video games like this. So I feel like we as Evil Dead fans are really lucky, but also it's just a little frightening in a sense. It's a little frightening and it's a little depressing because I just don't know what to expect from this game in the future, and I feel like there was a lot of potential, but I don't know the legality of anything. I'm just here in my suit delivering my little eulogy about the game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to sort of expect in terms of Evil Dead news. Obviously, I mentioned retrospectives and stuff that we'll be getting into, and then I've got a little exciting project I'm thinking of that would involve some, like, Evil Dead fan prop masters that I'm working on. Yeah, apologies if content is a little scarce here these days. It's very hard to make news videos, essentially, on no news. Unless you want like an update every day where I just look at the camera for 10 seconds and goes, there's nothing new happening in terms of Evil Dead today. And that's it. And that's the video. And I do that every single day till there is news. And God knows when that's going to be. So anyways, I'm sorry for this very depressing video for Evil Dead fans. But I just thought I'd hashtag speak the truth in my little funeral attire. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the future of the game down in the comments. Are you hopeful? Are you like me and you're going to go pick up 10 dozen roses and bury your game case in the backyard, build a headstone for it? I'm not actually going to do that, but it would be really funny. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will hopefully see you soon. Thanks for watching, and stay groovy.